What's up? It's your boy Carcino. This is the truth behind the breakup of D12. D12 is one of the most underrated groups in the history of music as far as hip hop. They had one of the most creative albums ever in the first Devil's Night album. Then things started to happen. Now, let's go through D12's history. D12 is a combination of rappers from other groups. At that time, they were called Crew. Who was your crew? Before that, it was Posse. But it's your crew. Who's your crew? Now, Swifty, let's talk about D12 as you would know them. The D12 you would know is Swifty McVeigh, the Con Artist, Canava, Proof, Bizarre, and Eminem. That's the D12 you know. That's the D12 we've seen. That's the D12, period. But before that, all rap groups normally always had a revolving door. When people come, people go. They go back to their original crews. And Bugs, who was a member of the group before he was killed at a show in Detroit, back in 99 when they was doing local shows. Bugs got killed and he brought Swifty into the group. Because they was in a group together called the Rabies. And Canava, he was in a group called the Brigade. And at that time, Proof used to do and host these battles. And the Con Artist, he was always a better producer than he was a rapper. But he rapped too. So he was always there with Proof and Eminem. He produced the Infinite album. If I'm not mistaken. I think he did. But Proof used to host the battles. Wherever they would have it at, the shelter, they'd have it in somebody's backyard. They would host these battles. So when they hosted the battles, they were basically scouting to see which MCs was raw enough or dope enough to be in the crew. That's at least what Proof was doing. He was trying to build up D12. And early on, Eminem was rolling with the Outsiders during the time where he was in the group and then out the group. Wasn't really committed to being a member. So him and Bizarre, they was going out to go and hang out with the Outsiders. With Rod Digger, Young Z, Pace. So they were able to, gather some of that style into their music. Instead of like more rugged, hardcore Detroit street rap, it became more a-hole, arrogant, funny, shocking shock rap became their outlet, which was right up Swift's alley. Bugs was more violent in his raps, but they got it. It blended with their style. Then Eminem is starting to have some success, some movement after Bugs died. You know, he's getting some buzz off his tape, so he's gonna try to. Infinite didn't take off, so he's gonna try to put out an album on his own. After Bugs died tragically, Eminem committed to the group. At that point, when he came in, he committed and took the spot of Bugs, and came in and was very committed to D12 at this point, as him and Proof kind of got back close. But this was due to mostly Royce's fallout, because Royce was Eminem's hype man at the time, and D12 was like a passion project for him. And once Royce wasn't working out and he got back cool and Proof started doing it, that's when Eminem and Proof friendship got tighter and tighter. So, sorry, a lot of stuff going on at the same time. But anyway, when they did Devil's Night, they dedicated that album to Bugs. And then it seems like the success of D12 blowing up made Royce jealous. Because now, when the Marshall Mathers CD comes out, and you see D12 on the back, and the D12 album comes out, and Eminem was fully committed to the D12 album. I mean, completely. Without a shadow of a doubt, 100% dedicating himself to this album. The first single, It On You, was scrapped. Even after a music video and everything, they didn't want the song on the album. They didn't like this being the first single off the album. Paul was not thrilled about D12. He didn't want to ruin the momentum Eminem had just built up. They had just went to all-time heights. He don't want Eminem back in the gutters of Detroit. So they did everything in their power to try to shield Eminem from making this album. But Eminem felt like, no, we need to make this album. This is our group. Everybody else is doing stuff with their groups. Why not? And he was front line and center with D12. He was connected. He was vested. And he's not even on all the songs. There's songs he's barely on. And there are songs he's just done the hook. And Eminem was just a member of the group. And that's what made the album work. It was their connection. They were noticeably connected. Now, let's speed it up, because I don't want to keep you here all day. Proof had issues. Not all the members in the group got along, sort of like Wu-Tang. And the reason why this happened is because a lot of guys in the group, they respected each other, but a lot of them didn't like Proof. Some of them didn't, his attitude. What's his name? Mr. Porter. You know, Proof didn't write nothing down. He was a freestyler. But Proof could be an a-hole at times. He drank too much. He's confrontational. He always got a gun. Proof was something else. So you had to learn Proof to get to know him. But everybody had their vices. You had a lot of people, going through things like AA. Proof went through AA. You had people having, all different type of things going on right now. So after the album Devil's Night 2 that was supposed to come out, that ended up becoming the name D12's World, which had Kanye and all these other producers, besides Eminem, working with them. It was a bigger budget. The first album had success. The second album, not as much. They didn't really have that breakthrough single besides My Band. They needed that next single to come along and really be the one. And My Band was just like Purple Pills. Purple Pills was the single that got them on the map. Even though on that song, only verse people know is Eminem's verse. Cool, calm, just like my mom, with a bunch of volumes inside my palm. So, with all of this going on, Eminem right now is just too busy. Now he's got his stuff going on times 10. There, and D12, he's feel like they're going to be in a position where they can do songs on their own, but it kind of never got established. It was still Eminem standing out. There was no real video for the group without Eminem being the lead or standing out in front. So the group appears and starts to look as if they're just there to boost Eminem. So they needed to stand out more on their own. So after they do a tour, I think they did some type of tour where Proof started telling Eminem, like, man, we need some space. Like, we need to create our own thing and, learn how to be established. So we need to do our own, like, solo projects. And just like Wu-Tang, that's what Proof was thinking. Like, look at Meth, look at Raekwon. They got their respects on their own because they put out solo projects. That's how everybody started to know the members of the group more. So Eminem was with it, and Smiley supported their, Bizarre had the Handicap Circus, and Proof had Searching for Jerry Garcia. And they were in the House of Blues, and they performed, I think, in Chicago. It was D12 Live in Chicago, and that came out on DVD. And during that time, Eminem wasn't there. And I said, uh-oh. When that happened, I said, oh. And I didn't understand what was happening. I said, Eminem's not here. And this is D12 Live in Chicago. This makes no sense. So, during this time, Eminem is, not around. The Tech 9 album. D12's performing, there's no Eminem. And Eminem was like a recluse anyway. He's still like that. You never really see him. He doesn't like cameras flashing and all that stuff, so he moves in silence. And he knows a lot of paparazzi is not going to be in Detroit following him around. Now, they were doing a third album, D12, and a lot of stuff is going on at the time. Everything's dragging. Eminem is basically retired and just worn out from shows. He was supposed to do a tour. He canceled it. And nobody knows what's going on with Eminem. Eminem at this time was going through his addiction full. And this is before Proof died. A lot of people attributed his depression to Proof. He was already hooked on pills and everything else at the time. They were keeping it quiet from y'all. He was already too far gone. And that's why you haven't seen him. He was messed up. So in 2006, when Proof died at the club, that's when they started to talk about the depression and everything else. When he came out with the Recovery album and everything else after the fact, where he talked about all the other stuff he had after he came out with that terrible Relapse album, and Recovery came back and was like, all right, this is it. And D12 is trying to do their thing, but Eminem has outgrown D12. He's outgrown the group, and it's just not working no more with Swifty and Canava. He only wants to work with certain members of the group. And when the D12 project wasn't happening, Bizarre was gone, the con artist was gone. You know, it's like, look, this is taking too long, and Eminem's not committing to doing anything. Those two left the group, and it's like, look, we're done. There's no more D12. I'm leaving the group. Then Bizarre left the group. And a lot of inner jealousy was happening because the con artists who've been knowing Eminem about as long than anybody, including Proof, the con artist is the one that basically was being taken care of as far as producing and everything else. He's not going through the same struggles as everybody else, and people only know their own struggles. You know, there was other members of the group going through their own personal demons. No matter how cold they were just being, you know, basically forgotten about. So, the Canava and Swift, who never really had that full Eminem connection, even though Swift and Swifty and Eminem were tight during Proof's, you know, when Proof was there and everything, because of Proof, they were pretty tight. They just weren't as tight, you know. They don't go all the way back. You know, they go a long way. But Canava and Swift were brought in, you know, just, you know, the con artists and Proof, they go all the way back. Bizarre, you know, they go all the way. They were there for the full ride, you know, like, they get it. But Eminem don't want to rap with Bizarre no more. He just don't. He's outgrown this. And that was the problem that they couldn't see. They were like, okay, well, if you don't want to do it no more, that's still cool with us. But we need that platform. We need to be out there. But Shady Records is in no position to put marketing dollars behind D12. Especially D12 without Eminem. And that's the gist of what was going on. They didn't believe in the project anymore. I mean, Eminem's not even popping. You know, they're building it up like he was, but he wasn't. Those albums were wood. The Refill Part 2, and I mean the Refill, you know, those albums that came out, there's a lot of albums that came out that were like Huff, Puff, and Blow Your House Down. And after the Shady X5, that didn't do anything. So they dropped the Devil's Night mixtape in 2014 and 15, and Eminem won on that. And I knew the writing was on the wall. It's been on the wall. And then now with this song that came out, Stepping Stone, which is the best song on the album, the Kamikaze album by Eminem, he told a lot. He told us the answers that we needed to know. He just don't have it no more. He didn't have it in him to be that guy to get them to the top. He can't do it. And that is the dangers of an artist being signed to an artist. So for Joe Budden, who was talking about Slaughterhouse and this and that, Eminem is not committed to a group anymore. He's just not. You guys don't go all the way back with him. So yeah, he don't know your history. But he shouldn't have given you guys the illusion that he would be around. He shouldn't have given you the illusion that you guys meant something more than what you were. Because in his world, you didn't. You didn't matter enough. You know, you guys were a collection of MCs he could stand behind to say, Eminem's got, you know, he's got the talent now with him. Keep him sharp. Skill sharpens skill. So, as far as the group D12 being done, it's done for Eminem, and Eminem just basically killed it with the song. So that means he won't put out nothing else, D12. D12 can come out and perform and do shows on their own without Eminem. But he just basically killed D12. Put an end to it, like, it's done. I'd be like, cool, let us out of our deal. And whatever members that want to perform together can. And if not, everybody else is working together. Kanava and Swift working together, you know. And a lot of people just didn't believe in these guys no more, when they're some of the most talented MCs in the world. I'm serious, man. Their first album, I would put it up with a lot of rappers' albums. That debut album was great. Some real stuff happening there. A lot of creativity, a lot of Midwest. So, on that note, I'm out. It's your boy Carcino. And this is the truth behind the breakup of D12. And definitely go in the description box and click the link and make a donation to the page and show support. We appreciate it. Thank you. And I'm out.